The Departure. My name is Mia. I am 25 years old and work as a photographer in a small city. I had always dreamed of traveling to Italy, a country full of art, history, and delicious food. I had saved money for almost a year, and finally the day arrived. I was going to Italy. I woke up early that morning, too excited to sleep. I packed my suitcase carefully, making sure I had everything I needed: clothes, my camera, travel guidebooks, and my favorite notebook where I would write about my adventure. My mom prepared a big breakfast for me, and we sat together talking about my trip. She gave me a warm hug and whispered, "Have the time of your life, Mia. Take lots of photos." At the airport, I felt nervous and excited. There were people everywhere. Some were saying goodbye, others were waiting for flights, just like me. I looked around and imagined the stories of each person. Finally, my flight was announced. I took a deep breath, grabbed my boarding pass, and walked toward the gate. As the plane took off, I watched the city get smaller and smaller through the window. I felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. The idea of being alone in a new country was a bit scary, but I was ready for the adventure. Chapter 2. Arriving in Rome. After a long flight, I finally landed in Rome. The airport was bustling, filled with people speaking in Italian, a language that sounded like music. I went through customs, got my passport stamped, and soon found myself in the middle of a busy Italian street. The weather was warm, and the sky was bright blue. I smiled, feeling the energy of the city around me. I hailed a taxi, and as the driver helped me with my suitcase, he asked, "First time in Italy?" I nodded, and he smiled, saying, "Ah, welcome to Roma, the eternal city." As we drove through the city, I looked out the window, amazed by the beautiful architecture. Old buildings, ancient ruins, and grand statues were everywhere. The streets were full of people walking, talking, and laughing. The taxi dropped me off at my hotel, a small, charming place with flowers hanging from the windows. I checked in, took a quick shower, and changed into a fresh set of clothes. It was time to explore. I stepped out of the hotel, feeling a soft breeze on my face. I decided to visit the Colosseum, one of the most famous landmarks in Rome. I walked down the cobblestone streets, admiring the small cafes, art galleries, and street performers playing music. After a short walk, I reached the Colosseum. It was massive, much larger than I had imagined. As I walked closer, I could feel its history. The stone walls were worn but strong, and I could imagine gladiators fighting here thousands of years ago. I joined a guided tour to learn more about the Colosseum. The guide, named Luca, was enthusiastic and passionate. He told us about ancient Roman history, explaining how this was once the heart of the city's entertainment. I took many photos, capturing the incredible structure from different angles. After the tour, I was starving. I decided to find a place to eat. Following the delicious smell of food, I found a small trattoria, a cozy, family-owned restaurant. I sat at a table outside under a large umbrella, and a waiter soon brought me a menu. I decided to try something traditional, a plate of spaghetti carbonara, and a fresh Italian salad. When the food arrived, I couldn't believe the smell. It was amazing. The pasta was creamy and delicious, with pieces of crispy bacon and fresh cheese sprinkled on top. I took my time, savoring each bite. As I ate, I watched the people around me. There were families, couples, and tourists like me, all enjoying the food and atmosphere. A musician with a guitar played a soft melody nearby, adding to the perfect Italian experience. After finishing my meal, I ordered a small cup of espresso. The coffee was strong and rich, and it woke me up. I felt ready to continue my adventure, full of energy and excitement for what was next. With a map in my hand, I walked toward the Trevi Fountain, one of the most beautiful fountains in the world. I had seen photos of it, but seeing it in person was a whole different experience. The sun was beginning to set, and the fountain glowed with soft golden light. Crowds of people gathered around, and I joined them. I learned that there's a tradition here. If you throw a coin into the fountain, you will return to Rome one day. Smiling, I closed my eyes, made a wish, and tossed a coin into the water. I sat near the fountain for a while, feeling peaceful. Rome already felt like a magical place to me, and I knew this was just the beginning of my journey. Chapter 3. Meeting New Friends. As I was about to leave the fountain, a young woman sitting next to me smiled and said, "You must be new here." Her name was Sophia, a local artist who lived in Rome. She was friendly and talkative, and soon we were chatting like old friends. Sophia invited me to join her and her friends for a night walk around the city. I was thrilled. Together, we explored more of Rome, visiting narrow streets, hidden squares, and small bakeries that smelled like fresh bread. We talked about everything, from my life back home to Sophia's art and the beauty of Rome. By the end of the night, I felt like I had made a true friend. The next morning, I left Rome to visit Florence, another city I had always wanted to see. I took a train, sitting by the window to watch the beautiful Italian countryside go by. Rolling green hills, vineyards, and small villages with red-roofed houses passed outside. Everything looked like a painting. On the train, I met an older couple, Roberto and Maria. They were friendly and curious about my travels. Maria offered me homemade biscotti, a traditional Italian cookie. We talked about my love for photography, and they told me about their life in a small town near Florence. Meeting people like them made me feel welcomed in Italy. Chapter 4. Art and History in Florence. When I arrived in Florence, I felt like I was in another world. The city was rich with history and art. My first stop was the Uffizi Gallery, one of the most famous art museums in the world. I had read about it in books, but seeing the paintings up close was something special. I spent hours wandering through the museum, admiring works by Michelangelo, Leonardo, Da Vinci, and Botticelli. I especially loved The Birth of Venus, a painting so beautiful and detailed it took my breath away. After the museum, I strolled to the Piazza della Signoria, a large square filled with statues and people. I bought a gelato, choosing pistachio, and strawberry flavors, and sat on a bench, enjoying every bite. As I ate, I looked around at the statues and old buildings, feeling the beauty and history surrounding me. Later, in the day, I received a message from Sophia, the friend I met in Rome. She was coming to Florence with some friends and invited me to join them for dinner. I happily agreed. We met at a cozy restaurant near the Arno River. Sophia introduced me to her friends, Luca, Marco, and Chiara. They were all artists, and each had a passion for something unique. Luca loved photography like me. Marco was a sculptor, and Chiara painted landscapes. Our dinner was full of laughter and conversation. We shared pasta al pesto, bruschetta, and a big plate of tiramisu for dessert. They taught me a few Italian phrases, and I taught them some English. By the end of the night, I felt like I had known them for years. Chapter 5. Ampere's Dream Come True. The next morning, I decided to visit Ponte Vecchio, a famous old bridge in Florence lined with small jewelry shops. Walking across the bridge was like stepping back in time. The shops had beautiful sparkling necklaces, rings, and bracelets. I treated myself to a small silver ring to remember my journey in Italy. Afterward, I took a walk up to Piazzale Michelangelo, a viewpoint that overlooked the entire city. As I reached the top, I gasped. Florence lay before me in all its glory, with its red rooftops, church domes, and the peaceful Arno River. I took out my camera, snapping photos to capture the moment. I sat there looking at the city and feeling grateful for everything I had experienced. This was a dream come true, and I wanted to remember every detail. Sophia invited me to her family's home in the countryside, near Florence, for my last weekend in Italy. Her family owned a small farmhouse surrounded by olive trees and vineyards. The air was fresh, and the landscape was quiet and peaceful. Her mother, a kind woman named Rosa, welcomed me with open arms and a warm smile. That evening, we had a family dinner outside under the stars. The table was filled with homemade food, fresh bread, cheese, olives, tomatoes, and a dish called risotto al tartufo, or truffle risotto. As we ate, Sophia's family shared stories about their life in Italy, the history of the farmhouse, and their love for Italian food and traditions. I felt like I was part of their family, even though we had just met. After dinner, Sophia's father played the accordion, filling the air with music. We danced under the stars, laughing and enjoying the beautiful night. It was one of the happiest moments of my life. For my final stop, I traveled to Venice, the city of canals. Venice was unlike any place I had seen. There were no cars, only boats and gondolas moving through the narrow canals. I decided to take a gondola ride. My gondolier, Carlo, was an older man who sang traditional Italian songs as he rode. The canal was quiet, with only the soft sound of the water and Carlo's gentle singing. As we passed under old stone bridges and by colorful buildings, I felt as if I was in a fairy tale. After the gondola ride, I walked through the winding streets, getting lost in the beauty of Venice. I bought some souvenirs, a delicate glass necklace and a small mask. famous items from Venice. I also visited St. Mark's Basilica, a beautiful church with golden mosaics that sparkled in the sunlight. In the evening, I sat by the Grand Canal, watching the sunset. The sky turned pink and orange, reflecting on the water, and I felt a sense of peace and happiness. Chapter 6. Goodbye, Italy. As my journey came to an end, I felt bittersweet. Italy had become a special place in my heart, and I wasn't ready to leave. I had made wonderful friends, seen incredible art and history, tasted delicious food, and learned so much about the Italian way of life. On my last night, I wrote in my notebook, capturing every memory, every moment of joy, and every new thing I had experienced. I wrote about Sofia, her family, the cities, the countryside, and the sunsets I had seen. Italy had given me a gift, not just in memories, but in a new way of seeing the world. At the airport, I hugged Sofia and her friends goodbye. "You have a family in Italy now," Sofia said, smiling. As the plane took off, I looked out the window, watching Italy fade into the distance. I knew I would return one day, but for now, I had a suitcase full of memories and a heart full of joy. Vocabulary for beginners. 1. Excited. Feeling very happy and eager. Example: I was excited to start my journey to Italy. 2. Suitcase. A large bag for traveling, used to hold clothes and other items. Example: I packed my suitcase with everything I needed. 3. Explore to travel through a place to learn about it. Example: I wanted to explore Rome and see all its famous sights. 4. Delicious. Very tasty. Example: the food at the trattoria was delicious. 5. Traditional. Something that is part of a long-established culture or custom. Example: I tried a traditional Italian dish called spaghetti carbonara. 6. Guided tour. A trip through a place with a guide to explain things. Example: I took a guided tour of the Colosseum. 7. Sunset. The time in the evening when the sun goes down. Example: the sunset made the sunset made the sunset made the Complean Trevi fountain glow beautifully. 8. The most beautiful place in the world. Example: I was excited to start my journey to Italy.